Hello and welcome to Ion Port. It is proudly brought to you by West Blue Consulting, Ghana Oil Company Limited, and Ghana Revenue Authority. Media partner is the Business and Financial Times. And folks, the last couple of days, the State of the Nation's address, His Excellency the President hinted that there's a lot of developmental targets ahead of his government, and no doubt he's going to ride on the back of the ports and harbors to achieve those targets. Now, lead agencies that are manning affairs within the ports and harbors industry in this country, namely the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority, Ghana Shippers Authority, and Ghana Maritime Authority, have all pledged their unflinching support behind His Excellency the President, and have outlined a number of things they have already done, plus those they are yet to do to back the President's development agenda.
The Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority, Ghana Maritime Authority, and the Ghana Shippers Authority have reassured their commitment to support government's objective of using the ports of Ghana as a catalyst to attaining development and economic growth. At the recent State of the Nation address, the President of the Republic, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, emphasized conspicuously the significance of Ghana's ports in driving the agenda of government towards economic growth. The Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority, the Ghana Maritime Authority, the Ghana Shippers Authority, three leading agencies under the Transport Ministry with greater influence in shaping the affairs of Ghana's ports, gave accounts of their efforts so far in ensuring an improved maritime transport sector over the past year or two at the sidelines of the Transport Ministry's Meet the Press series in Accra.
Our mandate is very clear. It is to promote and protect the interest of shippers across. And what we have been doing, we've been doing these by way of education and sensitization, by way of negotiating of freight with various service providers, and also engagements with all the stakeholders across the industry. And this is what we've been doing over the past year. And of course, as part of the government's agenda to grow business, we ensure that our various stakeholders are not paying more for the services that they enjoy. So basically, that's what we are called to do. And that is what we have been doing.
You're going to see a Ghana Maritime Authority that is not just sitting on the land and regulating, but an authority that is going to be on our waterways, both inland, talking about especially the Water Lake, and on our seas, to ensure that our core mandate of regulating, ensuring safety, ensuring proper navigation is done.
We have also, at the port level, tried to actualize the dream of the government to create a third port in Qatar. And we have taken the steps, and the executive instrument has been issued by the government, and we are making preparations. We have an MOU with Diamond Cement, and very soon we expect to start something. The major feasibility will be done.
Shippers Authority CEO Benedicta Bismarck emphasized that in keeping with the mandate of protecting shippers' interests, her outfit has continued to mediate between service providers and stakeholders in the shipping industry in order to present the industry favorable for shippers.
But we also think that we need to provide some services for our shippers, especially the truck drivers along the corridors, because it is mandatory that after a certain number of hours they rest and then continue. But if they are to rest along the roadsides, working they rest, and you find a lot of trucks parked haphazardly by the roadside. So we're thinking, and we've started work on that. Aketechua is one of them on the main Cape Coast Takoradi Road, that we will put in place a freight park so that the truck drivers can stop. We'll have very basic accommodation facilities. We're also teaming up with GOL to put up a service station where they can refuel.
She disclosed that the Shippers Authority, although an advocacy organization, has committed to certain projects to improve the workings of shippers.
We have shipper complaints and support units at all the entry and exit points, including KIA. We have one in Elubu, one in Paga, one in Aflao, and now in Akanu, which is the joint border post. And they are all manned by personnel of the Shippers Authority. They're available to answer any questions, to help with any complaints, especially when there's harassment from maybe police personnel or sometimes from customs or immigration. They are there to assist if there are questions with clearance processes. We are there to provide whatever support there needs to be. We also have our e-platform.
Acting CEO of Ghana Maritime Authority, Daniel Apienim, espoused GMA's dedication to ensuring optimum safety of Ghana's territorial waters by the procurement of new patrol boats, which is responsible for monitoring, search, rescue and policing Ghanaian waters against potential threats and illegalities.
We procured about 7 of them. The 7, 2 of them is for search and rescue, which was SAR boats. That's in case of accidents, we should be ready to rescue. So 2 of them is purposely for search and rescue, and the remaining 5 is to enable us to do enough patrol on the seas. And we are in the process of acquiring additional 2. It's through the procurement process. That one will be sent to the Volta Lake, so that we will be able to regulate, control, and monitor the activities of these boat operators.
He said one notable initiative the authority embarked on was the removal of tree stumps in the Volta Lake, which had been a major cause of on-water accidents for a while.
And beyond that, you're talking of the removal of tree stumps. It's to ensure safety of navigation. You know, we have to clear the navigational channels, the navigational route along the Volta Lake. That's the major cause of accident. And so we believe as an authority we have to invest so much there. And that's what the minister talked about. The first phase is done, and we are probably looking at moving forward to continue with the removal of trees.
Esther J.B. Donko, General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs of GPHA, revealed that a significant increase of 14.6% of cargo was handled in the TEMA port alone from 2017 to 2018, with export traffic gaining a steady increase.
Export has actually soared up in these recent years, and we look at the growth rate between 2016-2017. We have 0.8% growth rate for export, but for the 2017-2018, we have about 42% growth rate.
She said Ghana ports have been able to secure transit traffic for exports, resulting in a whopping 3,000% increase in 2018.
Between 2016-17, we are looking at about 1,400 tons. And then in 2018, we did about over 50,000 metric tons for transit export. So on this note, there's so much growth in the traffic that is passing through our port.
She stated that with GPHA and other lead agencies like Customs championing the paperless port initiative, it is working and improving port clearance processes.
GPHA has also been able to implement the paperless process within this period that we are reviewing today, and it was a successful implementation. So far, so good. We have few things that we are still working on to improve upon the system.
She said partnerships with private entities to create, expand and modernize Ghana's ports are strategies worth celebrating.
GPHA has been able to get into an agreement with a private investor to build a regasification center in the TEMA port, where they will process LNG for electricity power. And that is also to all adding up in the period under review to solve our power problems, our energy problems. And I think that it is something we should also be proud of.
Meanwhile, the Director General of Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has praised the Ghana Navy for their unflinching support in protecting the maritime space of our country that is ensuring the development of the ports and harbours business in Ghana.
The Acting Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Michael Lugoje, has praised the Ghana Navy for the proactive support they offer to ensure safety of Ghana's territorial waters and the ports in Ghana generally. Michael Lugoje, who made these remarks when the Eastern Naval Commandant, Rear Admiral Moses Biek Bafo, called on him for a working visit, said he would continue to encourage strong relationship as far as matters of security in the maritime industry is concerned.
So many years of some cooperation with the military in general and the staff college in particular. I have the opportunity to go there some time back. From time to time, we are invited to come and also give some small lectures at some times on areas concerning the port and other things. So it has been a long-standing relationship, and I think that we have to continue because I'm sure you are aware that our port security managers, the military, have been supporting us, sending officers to us in TEMA and TACRA to assist us. So we see the ministry as a very key stakeholder. That in any form that we can strengthen the cooperation, we'll have to do that. And whatever little support we can give, we'll always be available to do it. So you are welcome.
The Eastern Naval Commandant, Rear Admiral Moses Biek-Bafo, said his working visit to the Port Authority boss is to officially introduce himself and, most importantly, cement the cordial relationship that exists between the two organizations. The Eastern Naval Commandant was also thankful to the Port Authority for the support rendered to the Navy during an exponential study tour and some lectures at the Staff College. The GPHA boss, Michael Lugoje, also expressed gratitude to the military for their assistance in the training of the GPHA internal security officers. The Naval Commandant presented a plaque and a magazine to the Acting Director General of the GPHA, Michael Lugoje, on behalf of the Ghana Navy.
So aside the Navy Commandant who visited the Ports and Harbors Authority, the Ethiopian ambassador and his entourage were also in the port.
The Addis Ababa Chamber of Commerce says it is looking forward to revitalize trade relations between Ghana and Ethiopia as two countries who have historically engaged in commercial partnerships. The president of the Addis Ababa Chamber of Commerce, Mesembet Shenkuti, said this when she led a delegation to the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority ahead of a trade facilitation conference in Addis Ababa. According to her, the Ethio-Ghana International Conference on Trade and Finance will give the opportunity for African countries to evaluate areas within the trade and logistics sector to take advantage of and maximize its full potential.
We held on April, anytime. On this conference, a number of thoughts will be discussed, and one of which is that how are we going, African countries can work together to facilitate trade. And we will also discuss on finance as well. So, this is a very good opportunity to Ethiopia and Ghana. We are on the west end, we are in the east, no matter what. But we should, start very good relationship with Ghana, whereby we have a very, long time historical relationship during those periods. So we came here, just to make you aware that we're going to have this conference. And hopefully you will also join us, I hope.
She said the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority is pivotal in international trade, hence there are reasons for exploring opportunities of partnership.
This is a very essential area whereby if we're going to start import and export, of course this port will be very essential, to facilitate the trade relationship among the two business people in our country. That if we're going to start relationship, trade and finance relationship with Ghana, I'm sure, we can grow together. That's why we came here, just to make you, although you're aware that if one facilitates trade and finance within countries, obviously growth will come, particularly within African, because our business people, are exporting beyond these African countries because, we don't have any kind of trade and finance relationship with African countries. This is where we have to start. That's why we came here.
The Acting Director General of GPHA, Michael Lugoje, who received the delegation, remarked that there is the need for more intra-African trade, as the current numbers are not encouraging. He said GPHA is open to engage Ethiopia in business.
Intra-African trade, like he said, just 12% is too little.
Europe is doing 75%.
So how do we open up the continent to be able to do more trade among ourselves? I think there's a lot of debate in that area to start with. The traders can look at that. And once goods are going to come from Ethiopia to Ghana or from Ghana to Ethiopia, in volume terms, the best is the maritime route for them to come. And I think gradually we should be able to do better bilaterally and then encourage other member states to join us.
General Manager Business Development of GPHA, Samuel Intokwe, said GPHA has the essential infrastructure and positioned itself to be a port for regional integration, thus can serve all potential partners and customers.
We also want to promote our port. We are building, we call it the ECOWAS port. We are building a port that is at the center of regional integration. We are looking beyond our boundaries. We want to build a port That will be the first port of call for every vessel calling in West Africa, a hub that will promote trade and investment in the West African sub-region. So it will be a good platform for him to also sell and market what we are doing here. So we will support you.
So lots of attention towards the ports and harbors of our country, witnessing lots of visits by businessmen, the members of the diplomatic community and all of that, all trying to see how best that we can make Ghana's ports and harbors the best to facilitate trade in our country and within the sub-region. In the meantime, the Ghana Ports and Harbors Authority's International Maritime Hospital, they are doing wonders. Now, they have undertaken about 30 successful surgical operations so far. Lots of people have been admitted there. 24/7 is what they are operating right now. And, you know, you're going to see very shortly, if you get to the kids ward, the pediatric center, you will be shocked. So nice, so clean, and the kids are enjoying themselves. International Maritime Hospital says they are in and they are in to stay.
The International Maritime Hospital has for some weeks now been operating in Ghana as a full-fledged 24-hour hospital with modern theater facilities, undertaking major surgeries and admitting many patients both locally and internationally.
We have scaled up to a full 24-hour service, with admissions. So all our wards are now open, so we can admit patients overnight. I think the longest patient who was here for about 10 days on admission before discharge. We admit surgical cases, medical cases, and then also pediatric cases. So
according to the Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, Dr. Sylvester Yawopong, the well-equipped surgical theatres has placed the hospital as one of the best to offer quality health care in the sub-region, hence the patronage being witnessed. With timeless and consciousness, Dr. Sylvester Yawopong said about 30 surgical operations have been successful, as responses from patients have painted a positive picture of the department's procedures.
We operate on people, they leave the hospital in record time. Okay, some people 3 days, 4 days, less days than average stay in hospital. We haven't had any infection at all, and we haven't had any post-surgical complications. So far, God being so good, our surgical outcomes have been excellent.
He gave further details on the capacity and successes of the theatre since it commenced operations. He disclosed that the facility has become more child-friendly, as the children's department has been decorated with play items to contribute to the mental health and healing of children.
When the children come in and they are treated, they are well, they don't even want to go. They want to play around, and it's a very, very conducive environment, especially for the children. And that also helps in the healing process, okay, because psychologically they come in and they are happy, and they even forget that they are ill. They start running around, and in no time you find that they are well and ready to go home, and then they don't want to go.
Another exciting provision which makes IMaH exclusive is the provision of meals for patients on admission. Dr. Opon stated that the catering department has the necessary arrangements in place to ensure foods are distributed to patients devoid of contamination, with a special inbuilt food lift facility.
Here, food is part of the package. So the patients who come here for admission, they are fed breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And not just breakfast, lunch, dinner, but very nutritious and delicious foods.
Away from the International Maritime Hospital, the director of TEMA Port, folks, some time back, about 3 years ago, he took charge of the port of TEMA, appointed by His Excellency the President of the Republic to deliver service to this country, Ghana. And that man has done so with all dignity and with all hard work and integrity. He has worked tirelessly for the past 3 years or so, ever since taking or assuming position as the director of TEMA Port. Now, he says he is retiring and has met his management of the port of TEMA, bidding them farewell and thanking them for working together and also hoping for brighter future and always being ready out there to contribute his knowledge to the development of TEMA Port. He met the management and the lenses of eye on port was there.
The director of TEMA Port, Edward KOFI OSEI, has bid farewell to management and staff of TEMA Port after ending his term of office as the director of TEMA Port for 2 years. The outgoing director of TEMA Port, Edward KOFI OSEI, told his management that he has now reached retirement age, hence was about time he handed over the responsibility of steering the affairs of the port of TEMA.
My vision for this port, as I have said many times, were threefold. The first one was to make this port a safe and efficient port. And we've tried. We are not there yet, but we will get there. The second one was to empower employees. And that I've tried so many ways to do it. My open door policy and so on were all an attempt to empower employees and to build trust among ourselves.
Edward KOFI OSEI, the businessman and lawyer, served the port of TEMA with passion and commitment towards the progress of the TEMA port, while empowering managers who worked under his leadership.
You all, for the good working relationships we've developed. For many of you, the working relationship has turned into friendship. Continue to have faith in GPHA and continue to have faith in Mother Ghana.
The outgoing director of port, in an emotional speech, expressed his gratitude to the president for his appointment to serve as the director of the nation's largest port and thanked the staff for their cooperation towards the benefit of the organization.
You performed very well. I think you should be very proud of the work you did with us in the port of TEMA. You should be very proud because we are proud of you.
As you take on your new appointment, we wish you all the best. We pray that God will give you the strength to continue whatever you began here. Wherever you go to, you excel even more than you did in GPHA.
I started working with you right from the time you came in to join us in Singapore. And to be frank with you, I did really admire your working style and the speed at which, like my colleague said earlier, you get things done for us.
Your passion for work and getting resources to get the work done, your fatherly figure, your leadership style are very, I appreciate it a lot because
opportunity and wish you the best of the rest of the years ahead of you in whatever endeavor. We pray the Lord will give you wisdom, will strengthen and protect you, and cause you to excel in that endeavor.
The managers of the port of TEMA equally thanked their outgoing boss for the opportunity to serve and wish them well in his future endeavors.
So when Mr. Edward KOFI OSEI was appointed by His Excellency the President, we profiled him on Eye on Port to let you know who that man is, brought him closer to you and also brought you closer to him. Now he has served diligently and dedicating his life to the port of TEMA, working tirelessly and all of that. Lots of achievement have come out of that, selfless service to country. And we're going to let you know some of the things he has done in the course of the period that he has served at the port of TEMA, and also let you up close and personal to Mr. Edward KOFI OSEI.
Edward KOFI OSEI, the director of TEMA Port, has 35 years of professional experience in corporate America. Edward was a partner at the law firm of OSEI and Nelson in New Jersey and taught corporate law, contracts and taxation at Widener University. Before that, he worked in senior management position at AstraZeneca, Bristol Myers Squibb, Pepsi Cola and Kodak. Edward has BSc in Business Administration from University of Ghana and 5 master's degrees: International Business Management, Baylor University, International Affairs, Yale University, Masters in Business Administration, Stanford University, Juris Doctor of Law, Temple University, Philadelphia, and Masters in Law in Taxation, New York University Law School. Politically, Edward KOFI OSEI has proudly indicated his affiliation to the ruling New Patriotic Party, having served 2 terms as chairman of NPP in Pennsylvania, USA. He also chaired the NPP USA fundraising committee for the 2016 election. Additionally, he served on the Legal and Constitutional Committee of New Patriotic Party USA, providing expertise and guidance on strategy and legal matters. He is the originator of a number of policy directives and initiatives in the party, some of which were adopted by the party as a whole to raise needed finance and generate enthusiasm for the party's campaign. In the run-up to the 2016 election, he mentored several candidates, developing and refining their messages and creating a blueprint for success adopted by certain constituencies in the Volta, Northern and Central regions of Ghana. As chairman of NPP Pennsylvania, OSEI led the group to adopt Karaga constituency in the Northern region. He worked with the NPP parliamentary candidate and executive and attracted resources for eventual victory. Indeed, during the 2016 campaign, Dr. OSEI was on the ground as point of contact in the Ewutu Senya constituency, in addition to regular visitation to the Karaga constituency. The Ghanaian diasporan community see Dr. OSEI as a credible voice whose expertise, skill and intellect have been of great service to countless Ghanaians across the globe. Edward Kofi Osei started work as the director of the nation's largest port, the Port of TEMA, in April 2017 after being appointed by the President of the Republic, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to oversee the largest commercial port in Ghana. Having returned from the United States with about 35 years working experience there as a businessman and a lawyer, Edward Kofi Osei deployed his leadership prowess to attain significant and milestone achievements as the boss of the largest commercial port in Ghana, the Port of TEMA. Since manning affairs at the TEMA port, the revenue of the Port of TEMA increased by 24% in 2017, while turnaround time of vessels improved by 20%. And under his leadership, cargo throughput also increased from 14 million tons in 2017 to 16 million tons in 2018. The TEMA port has also become the most attractive port of Ghana's landlocked neighbors of Burkina Faso, Mali and Niger, which led to an increase in transit trade by 23.8% in 2017. During his tenure, Edward Osei facilitated an increase in equipment and spare parts acquisition for the daily operational activities of the Port of TEMA and significantly empowered staff and management to know and understand their customer requirements and how to satisfy clients of the port and port users alike. During the working period of Edward Osei, government issued a directive for the ports of Ghana to implement a paperless port clearance processes under joint inspection of goods by accredited agency. Edward Osei's leadership role as the boss of the Port of TEMA rallied his managers and partnered his colleagues to undertake these exercises and ensured effective implementation of these policies without difficulty. As a result, the paperless port clearance system and the joint inspections of the Port of TEMA commenced as scheduled on September 1, 2017, and so far the attendant benefits to the ports in Ghana as a whole has been remarkably evident, with increased revenue collection to the state, reduction in the time of clearing goods at the port, and relatively significant reduction in the cost of doing business at the Port of TEMA. Edward Kofi Osei effectively collaborated with security forces and customs to curtail fraud and pilfering at the Port of TEMA, which led to over 80 diverted containers being seized. In boosting security, he maintained a 24-hour effective mobile patrol system and improved lighting systems in the port to allow better night vision and visibility in the Port of TEMA. He increased the total port coverage of CCTV from less than 70% to over 90% and improved physical security around the port's perimeter with the reinforcement of concertina wires. He further improved sea patrol at the anchorage of the port and embarked on a significant training of security personnel with considerable motivation. All these efforts led to a reduction in the stowaway menace, piracy and pilfering in TEMA port to the barest minimum. Edward Kofi Osei also adopted standard and best management practices while in office, including what is described as bottom-up budgeting regime, and interacted with management, staff and stakeholders including customs, shipping lines, clearing and forwarding agents, among others, on regular basis. Edward Osei also guided management of Ghana Dock Labour Company GDLC as board chairman to formulate new policy directions for the company to improve efficiency of the main labour supply company in the port. He also worked with Ghana Dock Labour Company management to improve the welfare of casual workers through group wage increase and safety compliance. As board chairman, he aligned the board of GDLC's goals with GPHA goals and helped to improve the financial situation of GDLC, reducing debt owed the company by dock labour employers and also ensure that all statutory obligations were promptly honored. He reduced statutory debts owed by the company, including SNET, Providence Fund, etc., by 3 million Ghana cedis from 11 million Ghana cedis for the benefit of the workers, and instituted cost-saving strategies to shore up GDLC's financial account. Additionally, Edward OSEI introduced open door policy, suggestion boxes on the sport reward for exceptional employees, which has led to an increase in employee morale. All these efforts by Edward Kofi OSEI, his colleagues, team and management of the entire port of TEMA did not go unnoticed, as the port of TEMA was awarded quite a number of corporate awards during his tenure as a director of TEMA Port. The Golden Jubilee Terminal was named the Terminal of the Year at the Ghana Shippers Awards in 2018. The port of TEMA won the Best in Container Terminal Productivity and was also presented with an incentive award for the TEMA Port Expansion Project at the 4th African Port Awards, and the entire Ghana Port and Harbours Authority was adjudged the best port in management information system in the whole of Western Central Africa. It is our prayer that he will continue to enjoy grace and favor of God Almighty as he dedicates himself in working to improve the nation Ghana. And I on Port wish him well in all his endeavors.
So we also say congratulations to Mr. Edward Kofi OSEI for serving well your country, Mother Ghana, and also wishing him the very best of life wherever he will be. In the meantime, in the coming weeks, we will be sitting down one-on-one with Mr. Edward Kofi OSEI to hear about his experience at the port and what advice he has going into the future, what we can do to help and contribute to the development of our ports. Eye on Port returns after the break.
Hello. Good morning. This is Samantha Wendy. I am sending a purchase order from SA2 Ventures International. Our policy for new supplies is 2 containers to start with, but you must deliver within 30 days.
Don't worry at all. I'm going to get you the 4 containers within 30 days or less. Bye.
To get his pineapple slices from his country to his clients overseas, Mr. Appiah and his representatives have to complete a number of regulatory compliance procedures to various international trade stakeholders.
Hey, Baba, what's going on? Get it right? I mean, how?
Hey. Using single window, Mr. Appiah has completed all his international trade procedures through one portal. He has registered his company information, applied for the necessary permit, certificates and licenses, and all that remains is for him to get a text alert for clearance and movement of goods. And that's how simple facilitating international trade could be in a single window environment. You can offer competitive services to your trading partners in China, America, even here, in a simpler, faster, and cost-effective way. Single window. The only way to Ghana's economic growth is in our hands.
Here's innovation from Goyle that takes you further. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and Goyle has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New Goyle Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. Goyle. Good energy.
Welcome back from the break. Still watching Eye on Port news around the ports and maritime industry. Next.
The Acting Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority has stated that the introduction of major reforms and infrastructure upgrade have placed Ghana's ports as the preferred trade hub in sub-Saharan Africa.
When you're looking at sub-Saharan Western Central Africa, I think Ghana is quite occupying an enviable position in terms of container operations and modern ports. Of course, Ghana is also among the few countries that has more than one port Nigeria, of course, is a bigger economy. And despite Nigeria's size, if you pick them in terms of single ports, Lagos ports separate from the rest, we still lead in terms of container volumes.
Speaking in an interview, the Acting Director General also hinted of the automation of customs services at the ports to quicken cargo clearance and payments.
Of course, quite a lot of progress has been made. From the port side, the investments we've made in IT facilitating programs for vessel clearance is quite at a very advanced stage. And for the cargo handling component of it is also quite advanced. We have integrated ours to a large extent as a port interface. Now, integrating with customs is the second phase we are working on to ensure that cargoes are able to get out faster.
Michael Luguje disclosed that Ghana has now occupied a desirable position in terms of oil and gas services, since a modernized dedicated berth to handle oil services is to be well positioned to serve the oil and gas industry.
There is a dedicated berth that we want to use for oil services, what we call the Takoradi Oil Services Hub, and that is meant to be developed to provide all the modern services that can be given to oil sector operators. And that is to ensure we are well positioned to service the oil industry that is growing in the western region.
The GPHA boss asserted that developing and modernizing the track parking lot at Paga is also in the offing, as this agenda falls within the Trans-ECOWAS Trade Facilitation Project.
When you go to our border in Paga, where the trucks cross into the other part of the country, those countries, the parking facility is not in the best shape. And I think there's a whole demand for the Port Authority to support in developing a very decent, modern truck parking facility there. That is also a major project we want to develop this year. If we're able to do it, it comes to contribute to meeting that ECOWAS objective of opening up the countries for trade and ensuring that corridors are as smooth and facilitating as possible to trade.
He also touched on the ongoing TEMA port expansion project, the multi-purpose container terminal in Takoradi Port, and the upcoming Keta port in the Volta region.
We have a third port in our country, which is called Keta. It's located in the town called Keta in the Volta region. That has the president just signed an executive instrument declaring that area as a port. And what we are doing now is to conduct a feasibility study that is meant to help us design that port into a modern, multi-purpose facility that can take care of different types of businesses.
International port news next on your screens.
China's crane manufacturer Shanghai Zhenhua Heavy Industries (ZPMC) has decided to invest in compatriot shipping company COSCO Shipping Holdings by acquiring $62.8 million worth of COSCO shares. ZPMC recently signed a share subscription agreement with COSCO Shipping Holdings for privateer share of 111,111,111 at the price of 3.78 Chinese yuan for each share. The investment is expected to further deepen collaboration between ZPMC and COSCO in the port machinery, maritime engineering, as well as services and logistics. Maersk, MSC, Hapag-Lloyd have been cleared by the U.S. Department of Justice following an investigation that started in 2017 after two shipping alliances became operational. Hapag-Lloyd was informed that the U.S. Department of Justice Antitrust Division is closing its investigation without charges against the company, its affiliates, or any other current or former employees, said a company spokesperson late on Tuesday. This followed similar statements from the other companies earlier in the day. This is an important decision where the global container shipping industry has once again been fully investigated and exonerated, said MSC in its statement. MODEC International, part of Japanese supplier and operator of offshore floating platforms MODEC, has been awarded a contract by Woodside Energy from Senegal for a floating production storage and offloading vessel for Senegalese waters. Under the contract, MODEC will perform front-end engineering design for the FPSO and, subject to a final investment decision on the project in 2019, will be responsible for the supply, charter and operations of the FPSO.
Here's innovation from GOIL that takes you further. New GOIL Gold Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes have been expertly crafted with the latest in liquid engineering technology, highly advanced for modern engines, prolongs oil change intervals, save you fuel, clean, protect and enhance engine performance. The way engines work has become complex, and GOIL has innovated to stay ahead. Expertly crafted lubricants that work excellently with all petrol and diesel engines of today. New GOIL Super Synthetic 5W20 and 5W30 lubes. Innovation that takes you further. GOIL. Good energy.
Schedules of vessels that are already in the port, those that are at anchorage, those also expected in the coming week, plus the Bank of Ghana exchange rates are all next on your screens. And that should be it for this week's episode of Eye on Port. We thank you for watching the program, and also thanks to the entire team for supporting this program, particularly William, Kena, Robert Nyantechi, Godwin Kabute, my producer general Solomon Anderson, Joe Bone, Joe Lavo, also Ernest Thompson, Kada Faisal, and the executive producers of the program, Madam Abna Sewa Opokufosu and Madam Esther Jibidonko.